Almost forgot that my mic was muted yet again. Hold up. Okay, yes, I'm also muted on this end too. And I apologize again. Been still dealing with the cough that I was dealing with last week, so I still got cough drops I'm going through. But good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is making it through 2026 okay. I am once again Hunter, aka the Ultra American Teacher Puppeteer, aka the Jim Jones of Classic Gaming. And today, I'm going to be starting a brand new solo series. And this is one I've been kind of working on for a little bit when the idea first kind of popped in my head. And so, hold on, I got all the books that I'm using here for it. Because it started with the thought about everyone's usually familiar with your typical zombie apocalypse type thing, where mostly it's modern day, you're trying to survive and all that. But the one that doesn't get explored too often, that I was kind of thinking about, is what if it happened in your medieval fantasy setting? Your knights, your rangers, your thieves, your whatever, and you're living your normal everyday life, so all of a sudden, bam, zombie apocalypse happens. How does that look? Well, I started running through ideas in my head, mostly because I got my hands on the this white box zombie supplement by Bloat Games. I'm covering their logo there. And this is basically just gives you all the different kinds of zombie monsters you can face, normal, and there's even rules for like demi-human zombies. Like right here, you got centaur zombies and dwarf zombies you can also face in this as well. And I know there's a separate supplement that they didn't include with this, which was, I think, their drow dark elf zombies. That's a separate one I gotta pull up. And so I thought about just going through like the entire process of doing Barrows, and of course, hold on, I wanted to obviously originally going to doing Barrows and Borderlands. But the more I was thinking about it, the more about like, well, as much as I love white box systems, as much as I love Barrows and Borderlands because it's that science fantasy that I love so much, I wanted to focus more, not really so much on the mechanics and the leveling up, more about like the story of like how these characters would survive, basically a zombie apocalypse happening in the Borderlands. And so that's why I came up with the idea of one of my other favorite systems I like to run every now and then, the red dice system, which I interviewed the creator of this game, Mark Parrish, on here a few weeks. Actually, I think it was back in November, I think, was when I did that interview. So you can go watch that video if you want to learn more about the system. Hold on, sorry. Chewing on my cough drop here again. So I got the idea, what if I just took some of the stuff from Barrows and Borderlands, but made it applicable alongside the red dice system rule set? Which, for those who don't know, red dice system, how it works is you basically, the game master has like a die, and then you have a die, and then you roll against each other, and the resulting of that roll off depends on the outcome of that roll, basically. And so, let me get to this is what the red die system character sheet looks like. But this is not the one we're going to use. We're actually going to use, it's got one page. It's got all the stuff. So if you were like doing a game where you were like making your own abilities and stuff, you could do that. But we're going to be using the second page, which has all the skills and talents and stuff already listed out. So that way we don't have to try to create a bunch of new stuff, because a lot of this it can be easily converted over. And there's enough on the page to make 2 characters. So I'm going to have to, after I finish these 2 characters, I'm going to have to make another page to create the other 2 characters. And originally what I was doing was I was actually trying to stat out all the race options in Borderlands to be compatible with the red die system. But then when I was looking back at it, I thought, when I was thinking about it like a while back, I'm like, why am I going through all this expense when I could easily just look at the stat, see what it is, and then assign my dice size to, because you don't have to. There is an optional rule in red die system where you can, depending on the race of your character, that's the dice size that it chooses already, kind of your preset dice for all your stats and stuff. Because as you can see here, hold on, let me pull this up on my end. Yeah, you got strength, dex, willpower, and intelligence are your 4 main stats. And if you pick the optional rule where if you have a certain race, then it assigns those dice numbers, or you can just assign them as you will. So every character is usually assigned, it's a D8, 2 D6s, and then a D4. And so I'm just going to do it that way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take like some of the classes that are in Barrows and Borderlands. And if you look at this cover, you may recognize it's a little bit different from the previous booklet versions I've had, because this PDF is part of the amazing Portal to Adventure set that I happily backed and I happily promoted. No, I was not paid to promote that. I did it because I love Matthew Tapp and Barrows of Borderlands. I love Emperor's Choice and the Arduin guys, and I have all respect for Griff and the Blackmore Bunch, and which you can get all 3 of those games in the Portal to Adventure box set, which I think they may have a couple extras at some point that they will sell after they get all the Kickstarter ones sent back out. Excuse me. So make sure you keep an eye out for those as well, because I'm sure Matthew will push them on Facebook and Instagram and X and all that. So just keep your eye out for those. But we are going to kind of just we're just going to be, hold on, I gotta keep these books over here so I don't forget about them all. I don't need the expanded beasts. I may or may not need the expanded magics, depending on, because this was the newest book, one of the newest books that came out for Red Die System was the expanded magics, which includes several other magic types. So I may or may not need those depending on the classes I pick. We are going to be using the optional rule from Red Die System for classes. So depending on the class you pick, you do start off with certain skills and talents. So let me get my Barrows of Borderlands book. So I saw everything move around for a second, so I wasn't sure what was going on there for a split second. Hold on, let me think here. And so I may also be picking some stuff from the Radioactive Boogaloo. Some of those race options may be about, because here's my thought process. What I was thinking is these aren't just your typical average everyday adventurers dealing with a zombie apocalypse. These are what you would, a lot of people that in the OSR sphere will refer to as the monstrous races. So it's going to be basically, it's like monsters fighting against the monsters. It's kind of like the thought process I'm having when I was thinking about this whole solo campaign series I'm working on. And hence why it's called the Wasteland Chronicles, because it's a series of stories about these characters. Depending on how long they live. Hold on. Oh, thought my screen messed up for a second there. I thought I had a stain on it. So we'll see how these characters all come to be. So I know there's at least one character, because I was making character sheets using Barrows of Borderlands originally, and then I just kind of forgot about them and I put them all to the side, but now I'm going to do it this way instead. So the first character I'm going to create for this campaign is a Green Skull Cleric. Actually, hold on a second. Let me get some music going, so that way it's not just my voice y'all are having to listen to the entire time. Let me see. Let me hear. Maybe this lo-fi might be kind of nice to listen to. Let's see here. So that way it's not super loud. If the music's still too loud for y'all, just let me know. I think I can turn down just a smidge more, but not too much more. I just realized y'all can barely see my name on there for some reason, so let me fix that real quick if I can. Yeah, I didn't realize that my name was so weird. Yeah, I forgot. It does this weird default thing every time I create a new video setup. So, and do this. There we go. That's a little better. Now my name's all there. All right. So Green Skull Cleric is going to be... dang it. Hold on. I actually clicked something else on my computer. I was trying to hit something else. So we're going to do a Green Skull Cleric, because there's actually going to be some backstory, because I was thinking about this one. And I will reveal kind of some of the story behind this campaign I'm working on as I create these characters. But I also want to be very sparse with how much detail I give out, because I don't want to give everything away. I still want you guys to be able to kind of learn more about this world as we go along. Race details. Here we go. Let's go there. Okay, so for the Green Skull, instead of trying to figure out all the race, I'm just going to kind of convert it over, and I'll change some of the wording. Like, let's see here. They are immune to radiation and do not need sleep. So here, let me type this down. Actually, I could just copy it and then I'll put it over. Where's my copy? There it is. So let's put racial abilities right here. So we're going Green Skull. Put you in here. Does not need slip. And I'll change this from the has a 2 in 6 chance to form a human disguise. We'll say it can form a human disguise. And that may be off to a roll, may not. We'll see how that works. Oh, almost forgot. I didn't realize I restarted my computer earlier, so got that fixed. Hold on. Always got to readjust these. When you copy it, it never really fits it over very well from a thing, so you always have to kind of mess with it a little bit. Infravision, 60 feet. Immune to radiation. I don't know why radiation is capitalized. Okay, so there's the... All right. There we go. And they're all going to be starting at level 1. And let me think here. All right, let me open up my book here, and we'll see. Character creation junk. Hold on, what page is it on in here? Is my... Yes. Page 45. Yep, it's a D4, D6, D6, and a D8. I can put them in any order I wish. So, let's see. Now, since this is going to be a cleric, the magic in this game always uses willpower. And so, when you use your, because there's hit points, and then it's called SP actually stands for something else entirely. It's supposed to be, I think, your spirit, but because it's SP, I always call it spell points. So for this, we'll make her willpower a D8. We'll make her intelligence and dex a D6. That'll make the strength a D4. And so how this works is, for your HP, the numbers of your strength and your dex die are added together. So that means her max HP currently is 10. And then for her spirit spell points, it's willpower plus your intelligence. So it'll be 14 and 14. Because how magic works in this game is there's a certain spells in here, you select up to a certain number of spell points that you can do. All right, everyone starts the game with 1 loot because it's a weird, let me see. You may hold on to this or spend it with a currency check, which your currency is actually based on a roll, usually. So I gotta find where that is, the currency stuff. Which I believe it's willpower, if I recall. I just need to remember to be sure. Yeah, some of the rolls in this are based on some of the stats. Like for social actions, you roll your willpower dice, and then for social perceptions, you roll your intelligence. And this is something that I still have to try to remember every now and then because I always forget. Okay, now where in here is the currency? Because I know it's listed in here. Here it is, currency. Currency checks are social actions, so they are made with willpower. So my currency check, currency checks, let me see here. Okay, so currency checks made with a D8. Oh, you keep track of how many currency checks they have made. This count is what the player uses to adjust the difficulty of a currency check. This count should be reset to 0 when the characters earn a significant amount of money. Okay, so this is just to keep track of when I do currency checks, how many I've done. All right. So we got that done. Now let me find the optional rules for classes. Which I love that it tells me what the optional rules are, but it does not separate them by like where everything is listed in this book. Which we may use some of these optional rules in the game, just depending on how everything goes. So we'll see. Here we go, classes, which I'll pull it up on here so y'all can see what it looks like. So this is the PDF for RDS, which there is a bundle that you can get all 3 of these books, which so it's the Cool Rulebook, Expanded Beasts, and Expanded Magics. It's all like about $10. So, and you can in the description, and you can find that link in the description of this video. So let me open up the page that has the classes on it. Let me see how it looks on here, so that way. Excuse me. All right, let me increase that a little bit so y'all can see it just a little bit more. So as you can see, when I do the optional rules for classes, it gives me starting skills and talents or abilities that I can pick from, and I have to pick one of the 2. Because let me think. I believe you have to pick, I think it's 3 to start with. Let me double check. Fill in the details. Abilities. Yep, pick 3 things you're good at from the skills and or talents below. Okay, so yeah, I'll pick 1 from each of these classes, and then I will pick 2 more for each character. So I thought I had a bookmark somewhere around here, unless I misplaced it again. I must have misplaced it. I need to find, where is it? No, I need to get more bookmarks at some point. All right, so we'll pick. So for cleric, you choose between doing block or knowledgeable. So I think, let me see here. Go back to my character sheet. Let me look up again these skills and abilities so I can get a little better idea of them. Races, skills. Okay, block means I'm skilled at both magical and at both physical and magical defense checks. Apparently, it says I can only do that once per combat, though, which doesn't make sense. Oh, however, that a check may only get one buff from skills, even if you have multiple skills that apply to that check. The knowledgeable, skilled in knowledge checks, with the exception of knowledge and nature, which requires the naturalist skill. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we'll pick knowledgeable for her first skill. If it'll work here. It's not so. There we go. So knowledgeable is selected. Here, let me increase this a little more. All right, and then for number 2, so these talents are all the different things. Now, Arcanum and Bulwark are the 2 main magics, not counting all the others that are listed in the expanded magics. Arcanum is more like all your typical normal wizard stuff. Bulwark is actually more your divine magic. So for the cleric, we're going to pick Bulwark. So That's going to be her magic style. Or how would you actually describe it now? Let me look this up now. See, using magic on page 58. So it's excuse me. So this is more of like the magic style is more of a description that the kind of like how would you describe this magic? So what would I describe this magic style to be? Because she does have a deity that she does get her powers from, but it's not magic style. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, you must decide what type of mage you are. Let's call this Divine Pact, because it is a pact of a sort that she does make, but it is divine magic in a sense. So I'll call this as a Divine Pact. And what I think I'll do, usually you can just, this allows you, as long as you have magic points, you're just able to just do, or spell points in this case, you're able to just cast as many spells, any spell you want. However, with the way that clerics work in Barrows and Borderlands, I think I'm going to stick with the ruling for clerics in this game, and they are just going to, let me look here again. Let me find. Yeah, clerics start with 3 spells. So we're gonna open. So we're going to go to. We're gonna look at psychics and sorcery, psychics and sorcerers here. We are going to look at the spell list for clerics. Because instead of using the spells that are in, now that's actually a good question. Because usually the spells would be something interesting. That's magic users. Let me look at there is a Bulwark example spell list in here. Yeah, sample Bulwark spells. There's a buff, which gives you temporary buffs to allies in combat. There's Cure, Fortify, Heal. I may actually end up just using these ones actually instead that are located here in this book. Or maybe I should have her start with 3. One thing I will not do is they have a spell that Arcanums also have called Style Shift, which allows a character to use a different magic style for 1 minute. That's not going to be a thing. They have their own. They have a certain type of magic that they're proficient with, and that's what they're going to stick with. So let's see here. I think I'm still going to pick 3 spells though from what's listed in here. Now, clerics already usually start with Turn Undead, and that's what this Undead Bane spell that I'm reading in here is. Now I wonder, were there any other extra bulwark spells listed in the expanded magics? Any new spells at all? I'm just trying to see, do they have any new... This is more about magic items and armors in here. Random magic items. The sample setting. I'm just looking here. Okay, so I think I'm probably going to reflavor some of these magic spells that are in here. So let's look at the list of cleric spells. So immediately, one spell that, because she's a cleric, Turn Undead is immediately a spell that she will have right off the bat. And then, let's see here. Going to still magic user, cleric. All right, so let me look at how. Hold on, let me go to this one here. Let's go to like up here. Where's all my magic? Using magic. Okay, so let me look at. So if I had Cure Light Wounds for a spell, it restores 1d8 plus 1 HP to a creature, has no effect on undead. But there's a thing in here called Heal. I could spend so many hit points to heal myself or a target in close range for 1d4 HP plus 1 HP per spell point spent. You know what? I think I'm going to be changing. Do I want to do that? That's the question. Do I want to change how spell points work in this game? Since this is kind of, it's a weird cross, but it's a weird mesh up between two systems. I may pull from. Let me look something up here really quick, because I may pull this out of another. I may pull this mechanic from another game that uses a spell point system. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for how spell points are going to be used with regards to these spells. So the spells in this game will still work as they are. However, we're going to pull from another one of my favorite games, Micro Light 20, which is a very rules light also game. But how they do spell casting is it costs, depending on the system, depending on which version of the game you're playing, because people made so many different versions of Micro Light 20. It's either you have your hit points or your magic points. It is 1 plus double the level of the spell that's being cast. So, for every... And do we want to say Turn Undead counts as like a level 1 spell or not? Or would it be considered a cantrip? Because it's a net. Because with I recall, turning undead is just a natural part of being a cleric. So I'm not quite sure how you would rule that. It's not a spell. Okay, where's all my classes in here? Languages, ability scores. Here we go. Clerics. Clerics may turn or destroy undead through divine power. So how we're gonna do roll and turn undead is all the monsters in these games have their own dice that they use for like a bit of everything. So it's like it represents like every roll they do. They have just one die size. So it would be for a turn undead, it would be my cleric's willpower versus whatever dice the monster has. And I don't think that's a spell. I think that's just an ability that she will have. So let me see here. So for spells, let's see, for first level, what spells are we going to go with? We're going to go ahead and roll on this table here to see what my first level spells are going to be. Or maybe I should just go ahead and pick them out myself. Yeah, I'll just pick them out myself, because you start with 3 first level spells as a cleric of Barrows of Borderlands. So I'm just going to pick them out. I'm not going to roll for them. And I think the big 3 want Cure Light Wounds is going to be 1. Light is another one, because that one's always helpful usually. And then what will be the final first level spell she will start with? Oh man, it's very hard to choose which one of these. Okay, I'm gonna roll for my third spell. So let's go back up to this spell table here. And it is a D6. So let me get my dice here. All right, so when I actually do my rolls in this game, I don't have my dice screen set up right now because I'm not doing any rolling right now, but Foxoff, to answer your question, I don't know when I'm going to have the first gameplay session yet. It may be next week, possibly. I haven't quite fully decided yet. So when I actually do roll, I actually do have like these red dice that I'm going to use to represent like the GM dice for when I roll against myself. Of course, you don't really D20s. You don't roll those in this game. Surprisingly enough, you just roll D4 up to D12 usually. So I think that in some expanded beasts they have some monsters that, because if they're like giant, you roll a D20 against the character. So yeah. Okay. So let's go back here. So let's roll what my third and final spell is going to be. Detect Evil. Okay. So that's my final spell that she will have for our cleric is Detect Evil. And I still need to pick one more skill. Let me look at my. Let's take a look at all the different skills and talents they have in this book. Let me go back up. Let's see, creating a character. Skills. Okay, we'll say that the Detect Magic skill is not a thing in this, since that's actually a spell that you also need as well. Let's get some of the talents here. Okay, so I can pick Empowered as an ability, and it increases my spell points by 2. And I can purchase this talent twice. So let me hit. Okay, it's not listed on here, so we'll say. So I will type it. Let me see. Yeah, it's not listed on here, so let me double check. This is a talent. Okay, so we have the Empowered talent. Increasing my spell points by 2. So I'll have 16 spell points to start with. And that is all 3 of my skills and talents. Now let us roll. I think, do I still have my... There is a character name generator I did see in this. Yep, here we go. So I need my D10. And I'll roll it 4 times. So let's see. Oh. So Anna, Jen, C, Isk, Anna Jensisk, I guess is how you pronounce that name. So that's what we're going to name her. So I kind of like that. I could just this little table right here in this little table that's right here. I could just roll up a random name for someone, even though it's supposed to be for an NPC. Okay. So, am I forgetting anything else? Let's. Okay, so another thing that's different about Red Dice system is instead of rolling dice for damage, you actually have called a peril rating. And so let me pull that up on here really quick so I can explain it a little bit better for you all. Combat. Yes, this game uses a flat damage system, meaning damage is consistent. However, the GM has freedom to adjust the game difficulty as they see fit. Peril is typically set to 4, but can be lowered to 3 for more casual gameplay, or cranked up to 5 if you like deadly games. Okay, so I don't want it super deadly, but I don't want it to be easy either. So the peril rating is going to be 4. So every time an attack happens in this game and the attack lands, it will deal 4 damage to whoever you're attacking. So, but what kind of weapon? Oh, I'm so sorry for my cough tonight, Vince. Oh. Okay, let's see here. I need to figure out what kind of weapon would she carry. I don't think because she's so advanced with what does that thing by Stiletto Dagger? +1 to hit versus unarmored or chainmail wearing opponents. I could see her carrying a Stiletto Dagger as a weapon. So let's go back to her sheet. So let's see. So she has a Stiletto Dagger, which would be considered a light weapon, which in this game actually does something. Because how weapons work in this game also, the effects also vary as well. So let me find combat again. I know it listed in here. Here we go, light weapons. One-handed melee weapons that are small or quick to use, such as daggers, whips, or rapiers. They use dex to attack. Once per combat, you may move and attack as a full action, allowing you to do an extra quick action. Typically, this will mean gaining extra momentum. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Because how the system works, you have a karma and momentum. So I will start out with 2 karma at least each session. And then I will also be able to earn momentum by not succeeding in certain things. And every 5 momentum I get, I believe, every 5 momentum is 1 extra karma. And I can spend that karma to do various other things, which I'll explain more as this game progresses. But let me see. And then if I crit with a light dex weapon attack, do damage as normal and immediately make another attack. So she could easily just stab really quickly if she wanted to. Okay, and then okay, so she has a stiletto dagger. Then she also has, we'll say, tattered clerical robes. So she doesn't start with any armor. Some inventory stuff, we'll say a backpack. And everyone, it says, starts with 7 days of iron rations. Don't know if... Kind of lets me think about some other stuff. Because we're not really doing anything based upon, like, major... I'm not doing anything majorly based upon all the Barrows of Borderlands rules for, like, buying equipment stuff. We're just going to have them start off with some regular stuff. So definitely a bedroll. Definitely a bedroll. Definitely a tinderbox. Everyone would have a bedroll, tinderbox, torches. How many torches? Usually, I'm trying to remember how many torches, because usually it's you buy a set of torches. So I'm trying to remember how many torches does Old School Essentials give you to start with when you buy a set of them for. Let's look that up here on my phone really quick. Old School Essentials. Advanced Player's Tome. Let me find equipment. Torches usually start with 6. Okay, so everyone else has 6 torches to start with. And then is there anything else in here that I think would be considered reasonable for a character to have? I don't know if they would necessarily need a tent. Oh, definitely a water skin is definitely going to be something they would need. What else? Definitely, maybe. Would they have rope? We'll say, let's go ahead. I would say rope would be reasonable. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, one of these things in the carcass crawlers has adventuring pack sets. I just have to remember which one it was. I don't know. It wasn't expanded equipment. Okay, I know in one of these there was a... In one of these Carcass Crawler zines, there was a list of different... Okay, it's not here in this one. I'm sorry, people. I'm just trying to look through, because I know there was a thing in here for, like... Ah, here we go. Quick equipment. Oh, it just says armor, weapons, and extra items. Okay, it's not like actual packs, which I thought it was. Oh, here we go. Random starting equipment. Base equipment. All characters have backpack, tinderbox, torches, water skin, iron rations, gold pieces. And then there's class-specific items. Okay, and we'll say the bedroll is also part of that as well. They would have a place. They would need a bedroll to sleep in. Roll 1d12 twice on adventuring gear. All right, so I think that is physical description. So, hold on. Green skulls are actually... There's a very specific description for how they look in this game. Here we go. Green skulls, creatures of radiation and undeath. So overcome by the power leaking from the stars, they have lost most of what makes them human. They range from pale green skeletons to glowing radioactive bones, all the way to seemingly heavy translucent skin. Most have either gone insane through time or found ways to survive, hated this vile. So I think I always picture the green skulls to look more like the mutants from... So they're kind of bone-y, but they still have like skin on them. So I don't like to think of them as like just all... I picture as like Blight is what... Yeah, I think he goes by Blight in the Batman Beyond series. That guy that gets like hit with so much radiation that when the lights are off, you see nothing but like his skull and the green aura that he farms off. So yeah, that's what I think about it. So let's think here. How do I describe her? I don't know what I want to put down for her persona. Actually, don't I have a table thing in here for like moods and stuff? I do not. I thought I did. I thought I saw a thing that had a table for moods. Or was that something else I was looking at earlier today? I've got so many of these things in here, it's hard to... Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, yeah, here we go. I can look at all this looks. D12. Let's see here. That's a 6. I don't know why it'd be... they are... Let's roll a couple different personalities. So let's see. I got paranoid and ambitious. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. I kind of like that because the backstory I kind of have for this character, that because again, she was like one of the first characters I made when I was working on this originally, gives me an idea of paranoid and ambitious. So, so her description: thin woman with a light green, with light, it's like a yellow green skin. And bony appearance. And I think, does she have hair? No, she does not have hair. So we'll say no hair. So she's completely bald because of her affliction, basically. Because part of her story is I have for her is that she was at one point human. So, this looks like it. Hey, Bingo Man Zero, it's good to see you. Sorry, I kind of switched back and forth between my character sheet versus my restream right here. Okay, so red die system versus Dungeons and Dragons is so how I describe red die system. I describe it as like Savage World Light. So if you're not familiar with Savage Worlds, it's very much kind of almost built the same way, where you have your dice for you have a dice for your stats instead of like a set number. But whereas Savage Worlds, you still are like trying to like hit a certain number. Red die is you're rolling against the GM's red die, basically. So like the GM has a die, and then let's say I have a die. And then I roll against we roll against each other, and whoever has higher results, or if we tie, stuff happens. So it's very, and again, red die is also it's setting agnostic, so you can run almost anything with this game. Like here in the hold on, let me show really quick. Like in this book alone, I believe there's like 5 different there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, just right here alone, it gives you 9 different sample settings that you can run this game with. Like one of my favorite ones I saw on here, I'm trying to remember where it is, which one of these. It's called I believe it's that one. Let me double check. I always get them mixed up in here sometimes with which one's what. Yeah, my favorite one here is called Boundary Wardens. So you're just playing as a bunch of humans on Earth, but there's all these magical beings that are like trying to get in. And so that's basically, and so it tells you like all the races, what races that setting has or doesn't have, abilities and certain rules. It even gives you like certain equipment that you're allowed to use. So it's very much, you can easily run this with almost anything kind of deal, which is why I thought it was perfect to try to smash this together with Barrows and Borderlands. So, and I have been running consistently for I was running consistently for a year, like a fantasy campaign using the red die system. And the guys I've been playing it for, they've actually loved it. Because the idea is, depending on your skills and stuff, dice during combat or skill checks, dice get bumped up and down consistently. So like, let's say like you're doing a strength check for some sort, and which say it's a D6. Now, if you have a certain ability or a skill, that D6 can get bumped up to a D8. But if there was something that worked against you on that, then that D6 could get bumped down to a D4. And it's consistent bumping up and down. And there's an optional rule that I like to use, because the highest you can go up to when you're bumping dice is up to a D12. And once you hit that highest and there are still things that can bump you up, I use the optional rule to where the other die starts to get bumped down for all your bump ups. So it's very much a big old I don't want to say min-maxing because that's not why I don't think that's what it is at all. But the character optimization for like what you want your character to do really does play a part in like how things turn up. Because say if I rolled a D12 versus let's say a D10, and then things happen, and then if you tie on these, and then you have to then roll again. And if you beat the tie, that's a crit success, and things happen. But if you lose that tie off, it's a crit fail. If it ties again, it's just a difficult success. So it's kind of got that Power by the Apocalypse kind of success thing with it, to where degrees of success and failure just depending on how the roll turns out. And so let me double check. I think I may have had my first character done though. Cause yeah, I got my 3 skills and talents. I got total. I got her description, some weapons, her spells. Yeah, I think that is character number 1 done. And I'm thinking I'm going to start with 4 characters for this. All right, so character number 2. Now let's see. Let's look at, is there any, because again, I want this to be more like about the monsters kind of fighting the monsters kind of idea. So let's see what other races. Starting with the main ones first here in Barrows and Borderlands. Okay, back to 26. Let's go Kobold. And the kobolds in here are kind of kobolds in here are very similar to your old school kobolds with a few exceptions. Let me find that again so I can tell you all what those are like. So the kobolds, they stalk the woods now, but old texts speak of them as slaves to the starbound dragons. They stand tall as man with dog-like features and fur where scales once grew. Some still hear their ancient masters' call, turning savage at the mere scent of dragon's fire. Others have carved their own destiny by tooth and claw. So basically, they're like tall dog. They're like humanoid dogmen, is what they are like. And okay, so let's say, so we have a kobold, and let's see how we want to change some of these. So movement speed is double when armored and on all 4s. I think that's fine as it's listed. Unarmed claws. Attacks deal. Let's say that is instead of that set damage. Let's say it's peril minus. Because the peril rating is 4, but I don't want it to deal that much damage. So let's say it's. Well, I know, like, in goblins in here, because that's why I was kind of basing off at one point when I was first trying to, like, actually stat everything else. Let's see here. Races. Goblins. You roll the highest number. A bite attack, which counts as a light weapon. If you roll the highest number on your die in a melee defense check, you bite your attacker for 1 damage. So let's say, unarmed claps deal. Let's see, peril minus 2, and then let's say the bites is peril minus 1. I think that we can make that fair, and if I feel like that's still too much, then I can always fix it down the line. Because I'm planning for this solo series to happen for quite a while, because this is something that I started thinking about last year, but I didn't want to try to do it with everything the end of the year coming up, so I decided, let's do it, start a new year. So new year, new campaign. Yeah, the simplicity of it, Bingo, is actually really nice. I like it a lot. That's why I get more drawn to like these rules light and even the white box systems, because even white box gaming is very simplistic, in my opinion. All right, so course, starting at level 0 XP at level 1. Everyone starts with 1 loot. What class now do I want him to be? So let's go look. Let me bring up the class optional rules again, which I forgot what page they were on. Optional rules. These are all the extra races. Don't need to worry about those. Classes. I kind of do like the idea of a kobold rogue. I think that would be kind of cool. Oh, I didn't even write down what the class was on here. So here, let me put that down in the... There we go. Now I got the class down for her. So the kobold. Let's see, class rogue. And let's see, I get to pick between Deft or Trap Master for my skills. All right, let's look here. Go back to my skills list in here, abilities and all that jazz. Let's see, Deft does skill and non-combat checks involving manual dexterity. This includes picking locks, stealing, and doing sleight of hand. Well, definitely going with Deft for my main skill for a rogue. And then I get to pick 2 more. Let's see what else we got in here. Definitely stealthy is another one I want. But let's look at these talents here. Let's see. Looking at their talents, I'm not really seeing anything that catches my eye. Let's go ahead with some other skills instead. Oh man, but there's some good ones in here for like I would pick for a rogue. Like there's Agile is one I would like to pick. There's also Barter, Brute Force, Direction Sense, Trap Master, Tracking, Perception. Let's say Agile. We'll say Agile will be my third and final skill I pick for my Kobold Rogue. there's that. And we don't have to worry about all the crazy thief skills that comes on with it, so I think we'll be okay there. So the dex we'll say is a d8. Strength and intelligence will be 6, but the willpower will definitely be 4. So we start with 14 hit points and then just 10 spell points. No magic style because he's a rogue. Now let us roll up his random name from this book. I really like, and this is the Ultimate Solo RPG Toolkit, but also, though, and I actually did remember that I actually did discover this was in here some time ago. There is a Oracle table already in this game as well. I just got to find it. That's sample settings, which I don't need. Okay, where's the solo rules in this thing? I always forget. Oh, let's see. 200 has the rules reference, it says. Nope, that's not what I was looking for. Is it in being the GM, I wonder? Here we go. Solo GM-less roleplay. It has its own Oracle question thing in here, which I don't know if I want to, like, because it's very different. So I don't know if I'm actually going to use this one. I really love this Ultimate Solo RPG Toolkit by Silver Nightingale. It's like my go-to one to use for everything now when it comes to solo play. Okay, let's roll that random name for my kobold guy. So I gotta roll a d10 4 times, and it creates one name. So we got Par. All right, hold on. Let me. Par. Mar. Two. Pamartuant. All right, so there's his name, Pamartuant. Let's roll up what his personality is, and it's us 2d12s, 6 and 8. Paranoid and nervous. Let's roll that 6 again. I already got paranoid. That's just nervous and nervous twice. Serene and nervous. What does serene even mean? You think I would know some of this stuff at the top of my head? Hold on. It's a good thing I always keep my phone near me for all this stuff. And I keep a lot of stuff on my phone too. I don't know. Maybe a rogue would be more paranoid and nervous too. Calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Actually, I kind of like that. He's untroubled, but still nervous. But he's nervous enough to where that's why he's able to do some of this stuff. So, serene and nervous. So, what kind of dog would he be, though? Now I'm wondering. Let me think. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of a Rottweiler looking dog. So let's say, I gotta remember how do you spell Rottweiler? Rottweiler dog man. He's got some scars. Is there like a critical injury table on this thing? Trap types, hazards. No, there's not. I'm just imagining like a scar over like one eye. Like you can still see out of it, but there's like this scar that just kind of comes down across it. They're very much a good, cool looking. And definitely he's going to have, since he's Dex, he's going to be having more of a ranged weapon. For sure. So let's see ranged weapons that are listed here in the book. I think I do like the idea of a light crossbow. There is black powder weapon is a thing though in this game. So would they actually have? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll definitely say like if they want like actual like black powder weapons and firearms and stuff, they'll have to discover those in game. Like a lot of this stuff, like unless they start with armor, a lot of the stuff they will have to find in game. So let's say this one has a light crossbow with bolts already attached to it. All right. So okay, so light crossbow, light bolts, which there's 20 of them to start with. I think we're gonna go ahead and we'll take all this stuff. This is going to be what the usual backpack will look like. Let's say the backpack is just like that. This is all that would be in or on their backpack. Except for there would definitely be thieves' tools though. It would make sense for the rogue to start with that. I think, is that going to be it? Man, I do like the music that they made available on this. Sorry, I was double checking something on my phone really quick from one of my Discord servers. I apologize for that. Oh, excuse me. Let me go ahead and put that last cough drop in, because this cough is really starting to get to me now. Okay. So let's think here. No armor, but let's say, what kind of clothing would they say? Like, what would a rogue attire even look like? I would say light clothing with cloaked hood. With hooded cloak. And I believe that's actually it for my first two for my Kobold Rogue. So I will save this really quick. I just have to make sure I save it in the right spot. So this is a Green Skull, Cleric, and Kobold Rogue. Got stuck in the side of my mouth, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I need to open this character sheet up again. For the other two characters I will have for this solo series. Okay, now. Let's see here. Let's look at Radioactive Boogaloo and some of the other optional races that are in this. Let's go with the Saurian, which is basically kind of like a lizard person in this game. Yeah. Alien beings from distant past of Earth's history. Long ago, they ruled our world. Those who stayed evolved and hid underground, waiting for their chance to reclaim the surface. However, some of the stars and into the violet. Actually, no, not Saurian. Wouldn't make sense for that in this game. They would basically be the enemies. I do like the idea, the gray, which is an alien, basically. I am just thinking, though, how would I do psionics in this? Because psionics, I have not really had much of a chance to experiment with that, so I don't know if I want to actually try that. So the gray can speak telepathically to someone else. So let's go ahead. Let's see. Let's do a gray. Now the question is, what would their class be? Going back to... Wait, where is my... Oh, how'd you get down there? Don't know. Sorry, I got so many things open here now. It's hiding everything. I do kind of like the idea of a gray monk. Just an alien that can do like a flurry of blows kind of thing and all that. Would I actually do that? That's the question. Would I just be a... Would I just make them a fighter? Oh, excuse me. Because I'm also trying to... I think I would just make him a normal fighter. So we'll do an alien fighter. So let's say DH strength. Let's say their willpower is also 4. Not really that much magic, but average intelligence. So 14, 14, 10, and 10. And as always, 0, level 1, 1 loot. Then let's roll up a name for this guy again. Using this random table in here. So D10. 4, so tear. N. Z. Terran ZN. Okay. Rolling rolling 2d12s for his personality. We already got a serene. That's the same thing twice. Vengeful and empathetic. Interesting. Okay, so, and then let's see here. Let's see, for a fighter, I could do assault, strength and dex once per combat, or frightening. I believe assault means I am good with physical checks, usually. Let me double check here. That's spells. That's equipment. Yeah, assault. Skilled at both physical and magical attack checks. So let's go with assault as the skill of choice that I get. Let's see, abilities. I would definitely say armor mastery. And would I do empowered or... actually, I would go with controller. Which allows me, there is an extra thing in here for debuffs I can use, but I only reduce the damage by 1 when applying a debuff instead of applying one by reducing damage by 2. So I kind of like that, actually. In armor mastery, I can only wear armor if I have the talent. But I don't think... Would he actually... No, I'm not going to have anyone start with armor at first. So they'll have to acquire the armor somehow. Okay, so, and then... I think there was actually a thing in here for shield, wasn't there, if I recall correctly? Let me double check. Combat, quick actions. I thought there was a thing in here about shields. I thought there was a thing about shields in this book. Let me look this up really quick here. Let's see, that is... Oh yeah, these are all the extra talents. see, what is... Oh, random magic items. Okay, so... Okay, so... It's just for flavoring at this point. Getting a shield. Oh. So I can get back to my classes on here. So... There's all my classes. Okay. Okay, so let's look back at the weapons that are here in Barrows and Borderlands again. Men mutants. Let's say it's got a small shield. Well, what would you call a small shield compared to a large shield? I mean, looking up what the size is between a small shield versus a large shield. I guess a small shield would be more like a buckler. So I guess I would call it a small shield or large shield. And then we'll give him a... Give him a normal... Just give him like a normal longsword. Make him an actual kind of regular fighter. And then let's not forget all my equipment. Let me get it from this. And then clothing. Just say normal clothing. And I think that may be about it for my... I wonder, though. Let me double check. I don't know if Dungeon Delver is doing any Friday streams right now or not. Because I know they had decided to put an end to their Gamma World game last month. So I don't think he's doing any... Okay, so he is not. So Dungeon Delver is not currently doing any Friday night live streams, which I usually would tell you all about if he did. So, okay, so got my weapons. Physical description of him. What did they say these guys look like? Greys are large eye-like eyes, gray skin. These alien creatures will occasionally rebel against a regime of space psychics. Those who rebel can only retain a piece of their power. So let's just say typical. Let's just say he looks like your typical big black-eyed great Aryan. Big black-eyed gray-skinned alien. That's basically it. And I think that makes it for him. Now we go to the final character, which is another character I actually want to do, is I want to make a Dhampir Paladin. which Paladin is a class from the Radioactive Boogaloo, which is this one right here. And this one is also going to be available in Portal to Adventure. There is currently a Portal. It's Barrows Borderlands Radioactive Tougaloo, which is currently in the works, which will include other extra stuff that you can use in your games. And this right here is the Paladin class that you can play as in just regular Barrows of Borderlands if you want to do that. But we are going to make a Dhampir Paladin. So for a Paladin, I can choose between Block Stalwart. I did see that Stalwart means I am very good in save checks, which a save check is basically you just roll. If you make a strength check, you roll your strength die. If you do a willpower save, you roll your willpower die. So let's do Stalwart for him. Definitely would do Armor Mastery for him as well. Again, he's not going to start with armor, though. And then, what would I do for his final skill or talent? Let's see here. Excuse me. I figure as a Dhampir, he'd be charming. So we'll do charming for his thing as well. Okay, then Dhampir racial abilities. Let's go back, scroll up. Oh, that's Science and Sorcery. Let's see additional races. Page 24. Dhampir. Okay, so no psionic potential, but we will get all this extra stuff. We're not gonna mess with. I don't think we're gonna mess with psionics for this one because that's a whole. Psionics is a whole other crazy thing you got to deal with, and not even I understand it completely. So let's see. I do like the -2 on all saves while in sunlight. That makes sense. Immunity to Vampiric Charm makes sense. Natural weapon bite of. We'll do peril -1. Regaining. We'll say we regain all that in HP if I do that, because it doesn't make any sense to only try to do 25% of a set value. Regaining. Regain damage as HP. There we go. That makes sense. I think that's worded correctly. Okay. I think there was something else listed for Paladin. Let me take a look at that. Because I know Paladin had some other abilities as well, and I need to see if I want to include those in with the class or not in this. Let me double check. The fighter, besides the mastery ability, I don't know if they would get, if paladins or rogues would really get anything else. Yeah, it just says Fighting Man gets a single weapon, a master, getting a +1 bonus to hit and +1 to damage. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I kind of like how that would work with this. So for this, weapon mastery gives them +1 to roll and peril. All right, I like that. And this is, and I'll say the longsword is what they have weapon mastery in. This actually makes a lot. This is actually making a lot of sense now that I'm actually doing it this way instead of how I was trying to do it before. So, let me see. Does the thief get anything extra? Where's my thief? See, the thief part doesn't make any sense because the majority of that stuff would be just rolling off against. I'll say starting with the thieves' tools is what it gets basically for my kobold rogue. All right, so let's see, lay on hands. Paladin may heal up to 2 HP per day per level. So let's see here. Heal 2 HP per day per level. I think that works just. And then we also have, what else do we have? Divine Protection. Well, them having Stalwart basically just does this. So the lay on hands thing was really the only other thing I was really needed because the Stalwart basically helps with the making me better with saving throws. Okay. So let's roll up his name. Where did that sheet? There it is. Seven. Well, no, I already had a character start with that name. So, oh, haven't done one with this one. So Nell in V Vimer. Nellen Vimer. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Right, then no experience points, starting at level 1. 1 loot. Let's also say 8 strength. I can't tell if that's a dog screaming or if that's the music in my ear right now. So let's do this way. 14, 14, 10, and 10. Definitely would have to use the lay on maybe some of the spell points to be able to do the lay on hands thing, more than likely. Let me double check my Green Skull Cleric. Oh, I need to put down the Undead Bane thing on here. Which, how did Undead Bane said it worked? Cast a spell up to 4 undead. Cost is 1 spell point per undead being affected. No check to cast. Each affected undead must make a save check against the caster's will, running away in fear. Undead with a difficulty of D10 or higher are immune to the spell. The spell may only be cast once on each undead. Okay. So, but that's... so, that's a normal thing that she's able to cast, though, as a cleric. So, Undead Bane. Or I guess turn undead in this case would also be the same thing. But instead it works like the Undead Bane. So here, let me just do it this way. So that way, there we go. That way. There we go. Wait, did I not? Okay, I did save it good. Right. I am almost done here, ladies and gents. Double check to make sure I have anything else. So, all right, let's look at my weapons list. I think I would definitely have a two-handed weapon. I do like the idea of him having a pike. So, and again, he has armor mastery, but they do not start with armor. And this is all the starting equipment they have. So let me think here. Is there anything else? Oh, I need to roll up his personality. All right, 2d12s. Empathetic and merciful. Huh. I already had one that's empathetic, so let's see if that gives me something else. I already got vengeful too. So let's see. Well, let's say merciful and disciplined, actually. Okay. So so now I need to figure out what he looks like. What exactly would a Dhampir look like in this case? Which I'm going to look up what a Dhampir looks like really quick. Because I'm thinking Alucard from Castlevania, and I don't want to go that route. But I'm also kind of thinking like a Blood Hunter D as well. Oh yeah, I'm thinking almost very much kind of like Blood Hunter D. Let's see here. Let's go pale skin, long black hair, pointed fangs, and ears. And I think that is it. Okay, let me save this so I don't lose it. So this is my Gray Fighter and Dhampir Paladin. Okay, and those are going to be my 4 starting characters for this campaign that I'm going to start doing. Maybe next week, I'm not quite sure yet, but I will let you all know about that. So, and so with that, people, those are going to be my 4 characters for the Wasteland Chronicles, the new upcoming solo series that's going to be here on my channel. I just realized that's like right in the middle. And so let's go with this here. And so the story of this campaign is going to be, it's going to take place 3,000 years after it's going to fast forward 3,000 years from the current timeline that the Barrows of Borderlands campaign that is on the server is happening in. 3,000 years later, the gods are dead, and Arthur Black has killed them. The door of the ancients has been opened, releasing unspeakable horrors on the Borderlands. All flora and the majority of the fauna, flora and fauna has died with the massive radiation that now spreads throughout the land. But even though the gods are dead, there are things greater and older than them that lay dormant that are about to come back. And we will see how that all plays out when I start session 1 of the Wasteland Chronicles. Thank you all for joining me tonight for this session 0 character creation for my newest upcoming solo series I'm about to do. I really look forward to running this campaign. It's just an idea that has been just burning a hole in my head, just thinking about it for like the last couple months now. So I'm glad to see this actually start becoming a reality. And I look forward to running the next session, the first session of this for you all, the Wasteland Chronicles. You can, again, my name is Hunter, aka the Ultra American TTRPGer. You can always follow me on YouTube, Rumble, and X under that name, or look up the username at UltraTTRPGER, and you will usually be able to find me. And I will usually do these Friday night live streams where I do a solo session, or I talk about the game, or I'll even have an interview sometimes, which I'm trying to get those put together for the year. So stay tuned for what interviews are going to be coming up. And then on Saturdays, I do the Ultracast, which is me and a few of my buddies, and we talk about pop culture, the news, and all that. Which there is not going to be one this Saturday because Venture Saturnus is doing a virtual VentureCon all weekend long this week, and it started today. So, and I know a few of the guys that usually be on my Ultracast show, they're taking part in that. So there will not be an Ultracast this week, but definitely next week there will be one. And hopefully then we can finally start doing our Out of the Black Hat game fleshed out, which is something we did a while back. We did session 04, going through character creation. And so hopefully we'll be able to start doing that campaign soon. And then another thing I'd like to mention is at 10 p.m. Central Time, my buddies Lord Mattias and Gary Lewis, they do the Second Watch Show on Lord Mattias' YouTube and Rumble channel. So make sure you go follow them. Make sure you go follow Lord Mattias on X, YouTube, and Rumble as well. And make sure to be on the lookout for tonight, because tonight they have Alexander McCrease, is going to the creator of X, the Adventure Conquer King system, which is the one that I still need to get my hands on that I have not had a chance to play or run yet. But I always hear good things about it. But Alexander McCrease will be on the Second Watch show tonight. So again, at 10 p.m. Central Time, make sure you stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you all for joining me tonight for the Session 0 of Wasteland Chronicles. And I will see you all again next week. Have a good night, everybody.